Hello and welcome. This is Raj, your host, Unleashing Talent. Welcome to the Leadership Podcasts. And in today's podcast, I would briefly talk about understanding the context and how important it is for any leader to understand the context. And leadership is not about exhibiting or demonstrating your leadership styles and capabilities and your authorities and influencing capabilities and business capabilities. These are, of course, part of the leadership. However, I strongly feel, and I'm sure many of the leaders would agree, that leading in context is very important. So, for first and very, very important element for any leader is to understand the context you are living in. So let me give you an example. Whether it is your product, your processes, whether your systems, or your market segment, or it could be your strategies, or it could be your people strategies, or anything that leader has to do or plan, it needs to be done in context. That's absolutely important. So, for example, you are planning for people development. So, what is the context of people development? You cannot just call up someone and say that, hey, I want to do some training for my people. Can you organize a training? No. When you have that question, there's something beyond that question that's kind of bothering you. Why you feel that there's a training that you need for the individual. Maybe you are sensing that the customer feedback is not okay, or it's not up to the mark, and henceforth the people need to be developed to come up to that level. So your context is that the customers need people to be more proactive in their responses, and henceforth that's your context. So I feel, and the same could be, if you're designing a strategy for organizational change, for example, you are getting into a new market, so you know that this new market will require you to have different sets of skill sets, and you need people with the capabilities that you need to be successful in the market. So your context is different. So in that context, you have to decide what kind of capabilities you require to be effective and to be successful. Another example could be, let's say post-pandemic. So how are you planning your business post-pandemic? So your ability to foresee the changes that are likely to happen, and your ability to understand how the future would look like, and kind of systems thinking, or strategic planning that you do, all of these need to operate in context. So remember, leaders operate at 45,000 feet above from where the ground is kind of cloudy and not absolutely clear, but they know based on their calculations and risk management systems and market intelligence that the flight would land exactly where it has to. So it is extremely important to understand the context and operate in that context. So when you take a decision based on the context, your success rate is very, very high. That's what we call leading in context. So a little bit of exploration before you make a decision, a little bit of research before you take a decision, and a little bit of planning before you take a decision, and ensuring that you have the context to make that decision, because you don't know the client side of the story, you don't know the client side of the business, you don't know the client side of the culture and values, and so on and so forth. And henceforth you would operate from your context. You would not be able to contextualize to your client's context. So once again, there's a high chance of failure if you're not understanding the other side of the story, and that is the context. So lead in context, your business, your people, your processes. A leader is someone who is able to foresee things, who is able to envision things, who is able to have a broader understanding of what the probability looks like. And then in that context, he's able to bring teams together and make a decision. So that's what leading in context all about. Hopefully this discussion was helpful to you. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you in the next episode.